Hi, I'm Donna Williams, and I'm going to talk a little bit about dissociative identity disorder and sort of how selves originally come about and the process of becoming aware of them. In my case, I remember the first one, which was when I was 2, and it was from quite specific circumstances and the terror of sleeping in a bed and sort of what was happening there. And as a result, I'd come to sleep down the side of the bed, and then I was even too scared to do that, so sleeping underneath the bed. And it was whilst being a 2-year-old sleeping underneath the bed that I remember feeling this other self in the room. It's kind of like maybe if anyone's experienced a ghost, it's sort of like feeling there's a ghost in the room. And then I let that ghost become me, and I left. So it's like I just left my body behind. And that was Willie. And I guess there was a kind of process leading up to that, but that's the first time that I really remember that process. And then I found Carol in the mirror. I was 4, and my grandfather had died, and my grandmother had been sent away the same week, and I saw her for another 4 times over the next years. So basically I lost both of my carers, and I found Carol in the mirror, and I guess already I was dissociated into her. In a sense, she found herself in the mirror, and because whoever she was couldn't get into the mirror to go and be with that other girl, she climbed in the wardrobe, and somewhere in there, just like under the bed, she found Carol in the wardrobe, and basically when that girl came out, that was Carol. And so I suppose Donna, or Little Donna, was kind of left in the wardrobe. And over the years, I remember emerging in the room when I was alone. It was as if the other two were mostly presenting as me, and I was the Little Donna part was allowed to exist when no one was around. And so a lot of people think that if you've dissociated, like when you're 2, that you don't have a self. And I think I do have a self. The Little Donna part loves patterns, wallpaper, textures, lights, surfaces of things, sounds, the and that part knows all the sounds of everything. And it knows the textures of things. It's very attached to movement, but it's a very sensory self. And pretty much the first protective self, which was Willie, really determined to mostly keep that self away from human beings. And so Willie was protective, defensive. Carol was flighty, constantly diverting, a pleaser, learning to do the sort of one-size-fits-all smile, and if people laughed, she'd laugh, and so she was really the echolalic me. Willie really just gave people their evils, really not very verbal, and Little Donna made noises, and I sang songs that I knew, and Carol sang, but she sang boldly out there, and I just sang to myself. Little Donna sang to herself. But it wasn't until a recent diagnosis of DID that I came to terms with the other Donnas, sort of another primary, sort of 4, so altogether it's sort of like 7 basic Donnas. And I remembered them, I didn't really take them seriously as selves. I mean, I'd been referring to Aunty Donna and saying, sorry, Aunty Donna's not home, and Aunty Donna is kind of like the Cinderella kid, the one that looks after the little brother, and the one that accepts all the scapegoating of itself and lives to give. Very self-sacrifice, hides behind self-sacrificing. That's the one that struggles to eat and struggles with selective mutism. The voice kind of goes down to nothing, and very tends towards agoraphobia, very introverted. And then I knew about when I was in mid-childhood, my younger brother had called me Darboy. And Darboy was this boyish imp character who would jump on all the beds and spin and, post the brother down the stairs and then post itself downstairs and jump on all the furniture and climb trees and learn to ride a bike and sort of king of the community. So as Darboy got older, when I was 13, I remembered telling everyone my name was Lee and that they had to call me Lee. And this was my way of acknowledging, getting people to acknowledge that I was a boy. And Darboy is, Willie and Darboy are male, where Willie identified just as as an adult male. Darboy identifies more as a teenage, late childhood to teenage years. Gay male in a woman's body is what he ultimately came to terms with. And then when I was 13 and basically dealing with homelessness, I was calling myself Marnie, and Marnie got drunk, and Marnie did the whole substance thing, and Marnie was foul-mouthed and rather antisocial and would just give people what for, had the capacity for rage, and really probably began to appear around age 10, pushing kids downstairs, throwing tables, throwing chairs, and a lot of rage. And really, I think selves develop long before they're fully formed as a self. And so she really wasn't fully formed till about 13, and she really lived mostly between 13 and 17. But I can see her foundations around age 10, and I think she probably began to develop about age 3, but there was a lot of, obviously, growing up in a really violent, crazy background. Having a kid who's got rage is a very dangerous thing to be, a child with rage. And the other one is Anne. And I remembered when I was about 13, very vague memory of playing with the name Anne and believing that my name was Anne. And Anne was elegant. Anne was very flowing, she's very ethereal. And as such, she's like a fairy. And if you get too close, she disappears. So she's very much a person with exposure anxiety who disappears when anyone's in the room at all directly confrontational. Anne is very much the artist, quite like Little Donna, and British. So probably took a lot from Mary Poppins in a lot of ways. And she's quite magical, so Anne will always find a way to make things better, make things magically better, find little cures for things. And yeah, so I thought I would just present sort of how they come about, and it's very unconscious. It's not like you decide, I'm going to make somebody up. And it's just that later on you find that these selves who began to emerge have gone off on their own little tangent and created themselves lives. Later on you find out that they're all sharing the ship with you. Okay, I'm Donna Williams. Thanks for listening.